Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's me, Ozzy, and
Zach?
together we've built multiple businesses, including Advirtis, where we've helped over 300 marketing agencies scale smarter, grow faster, and escape the chaos that most agency owners get stuck in. In each episode, we're going to break down real conversations by agency owners. These conversations around things like sales, operations, hiring, scaling, leadership, the wins, the failures, all of it pretty much. And recently, Zach, we added in CTV advertising in the last year as a service offering to our partners and their clients. And let's just say things are getting a little wild now. Everybody's obsessed with this right now, especially for the new quote unquote impressions to be complementary to ads and things like that. So I'm super excited to talk about this today. Guys, if you are an agency owner, listen up. If you're not currently offering anything with programmatic, CTV, anything like that, as an add-on service to your existing service lines, you are missing out. There are tons of opportunity. If you want to get into enterprise deals, RFPs, big deals, I'm talking those 50K, 100K month, deals, then you have to get into CTV. And we learned that, didn't we, Zach?
Yeah. It is kind of crazy. At some point, there's diminishing returns, right? Where sure you can shove $1 million through a single walled garden platform like Meta, right? Facebook, Instagram, or even Google. But at some point, there's just diminishing returns, right? Like every dollar that you would spend in that platform may not equal $2 back, which is the whole goal of advertising, right? You put $1 in, you get 2 back. And so we found that we need to get more eyeballs. We need to get more people to see the brand, the service, the product, the offering, whatever it may be, in the specific audiences, in the specific locations, sure. But we need more people to see the ad, right? To build trust. And that's one fallacy that I think a lot of people think is, well, we've tapped out Google. There's not anyone else that we can advertise to within Google that doesn't know about your brand. Our search impression share is nearly 100%. Everyone sees it. Doesn't mean people are engaging with it. Doesn't mean that they've seen the ad. So a really easy and cheap way, mind you, to get eyeballs on whatever it is that you or your clients are selling is connected TV or OTT and programmatic advertising.
Yeah, it's funny. I look at these types of ads as more like a traditional advertising, and, when we first introduced this as a service line into our partners and they started reselling it, it was interesting to see the types of clients that we were starting to talk to. It was almost like an overnight shift. I'll never forget the very first deal that we worked on was with one of our partners. I think he was out of Chicago. We flew to Chicago to meet with him and his client. This was like a client who had been around for 150 years, I think.
Yep.
They're like the world's largest like manufacturer of a piece of equipment that I can't say because it's so proprietary. but but it was just like really interesting to see that they had always done CTV, right? And news rate, like they were always on radio. They were sharing some of the radio ads from like the 50s with us. And like it
Yeah.
was so nostalgic and cool. But we're sitting in this room of probably, I don't know, 30 people. And I remember thinking in that moment, Zach, I was like, here's our agency. We support marketing agencies. We had been partnered by that time, at least with 200 plus agencies. And I'm like, man, we've been missing out this whole time just about we've been only offering Google ads, meta ads, SEO, website stuff. We never really thought about getting into CTV. And this was just that moment of like, aha, this is how we get the bigger clients, like the GEs and those larger clients. So it was like super interesting to see that we could sit in the room with, those types of companies. And then they're like, oh yeah, the ad spend. Yeah, we'll spend, 200 or 300K a month.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Just on top of funnel, just on awareness, brand awareness based campaigns, not to mention, the extra 300K per month on Meta ads and Google ads and whatnot. So I definitely agree with you. These larger brands, they are looking to maximize their reach. They're not just looking for bottom of funnel people who are ready to convert as soon as they see an ad. They're really looking to move people through the funnel, establish brand trust, establish brand authority, convince them that this is the service, this is the brand, this is the offering, this is the product to go with, and just really moving them down the funnel that way.
It's funny because when you think about a funnel in marketing, it's always, you have to have a top of funnel. And something that I just love about marketing itself in general is that awareness part. And CTV is that traditional advertising sense. Like, we all know the jingles and we all know the from radio and from, television. And so it's like, once you have that brand identity and that brand awareness, everything else kind of falls into place from there. It helps establish the brand. So something I've noticed since we've adopted these services and added them in for our resellers is I'm noticing a huge increase in retention across all of their client accounts. So
Yes.
a lot of these agencies that would partner with us on CTV, we were also doing Google ads for Meta ads. We're able to increase the retargeting, presence because we're driving traffic to their websites, and then the cost per click lowers because we're doing retargeting ads, and then it like complements so well. Then SEO is better, right? Like the rankings are better from brand authority. And so like you start to see this full funnel, the picture. And so what I shared, one of our partners asked me directly, is like, churn was a big deal for his agency. And we are sharing omnipresence marketing. It diversifies your risks because, for that client, they're looking at you and they're like, you can offer me these services, but can you also take over my SEO, take over this, do the CTV? Like, can you do everything? For you as an agency owner, like, yes, like you want that. You want to be that umbrella because you're diversifying your risk to be able to serve them in different avenues. So if one fails, you still have these 4 others that are backing them up, basically. So it's like being able to offer that full funnel is so important as you grow your agency, and to be able to serve your clients even better in managing that full funnel, essentially. So CTV was a big deal for us when we introduced that. And I've noticed that retention was a big benefit when we introduced CTV into the agency.
Yeah, huge benefit. And you're right. Everything just got cheaper on the Google ad side, the Meta ad side. The clicks got less expensive. Why? Because more people ended up trusting you, right? More people got further down the funnel. You weren't trying to work as hard for your click because there are already 2, 3, 4 videos, radio announcement, banners that they saw previous about that brand, that by the time that they actually searched for the thing that they needed and they saw an ad in front of them, they clicked. They're like, oh yeah, I remember them. It's very timely. Super Bowl just happened here in 2026. And why does State Farm spend millions and millions of dollars, not just to place an ad, but also to create an ad that's just funny? At the end of the day, it's just Jake from State Farm with a bunch of other A-list celebrity actors, and it's just funny because they're building awareness. They're building top of funnel. They want people, they don't want just people, they want everyone to know that State Farm is a nationwide insurance company. That's it. That's all they really want to know. But you don't know the insurance companies that are down your street, but you know about State Farm, right? You know about Nationwide, you know about Geico because of these big budgets. What are they doing? They're expanding their top of funnel so that when you expand your top of funnel so big, then obviously your bottom of funnel also becomes larger because by the time that they're actually ready to convert, they just think, well, I'll just see what State Farm has to offer. I'll get a quote. I'll just see what's going on. And they don't even promise anything in their ads. It's just funny. That's it.
The halfway there ad specifically, I really like the halfway
Yeah,
there. Yeah, the Bon Jovi. Yeah, it's funny. Like I think folks, these companies are paying millions and millions and millions of dollars for a second spot, and they're making a huge return on their ad spend back.
Huge return on their ad spend back. And it's still technically, if you go eyeball by eyeball, impression by impression, right? It's still one of the cheapest mediums to get 20 million people to see what the heck it is that you're selling, right? And you can't get that cheap of a impression on Meta or on Google, right? But you can get it on something similar to connected TV. So you can have your own little, not Super Bowl ad, right? But you could have an HVAC company that only serves Louisville, Kentucky, right? And you could actually be advertising all the way up to the day of the Super Bowl. And you could be paying for media spots, right? In your specific niche in just a 50-mile radius around Louisville. And that probably wouldn't cost you more than $5,000 to $10,000 in ad spend just around your location and to hit everybody that you can. And remember, connected TV is where someone turns on Disney Plus and ads turn on. An HVAC company's ad could be on Disney Plus. An HVAC company's ad could be on Netflix. An HVAC company's ad could be on Hulu, can be in radio, right? Can be in Spotify, iHeartRadio. Like that would be crazy to be able to have your brand show up that often so that when someone says, oh man, my heat's out, I need an HVAC guy to come, and your Google ad pops up that has your brand, well, I'm going to go with this guy that I've heard about on television over somebody that I haven't, just because of that familiarity, right? You need 7 brand touch points to establish trust. And you got that click over someone else, right? You got that business over someone else. And odds are that job, right? Or those handful of jobs would pay for all the ad spend and then some, right? Depending on types of projects that you're quoting. And then also you get customers that are probably just going to come back to you and have a longer lifetime customer value, all because you just expanded the amount of people that you're showing your brand in front of for super cheap on connected TV.
And he's not kidding. I think one fascinating thing that I learned the last year working with all these different agencies and seeing all the different strategies our sales team was helping our partners try to close. Like the budgets were surprisingly not as high as I expected for radio and television. For service-based companies like you were mentioning HVAC, there was one very specific one out of Chattanooga for plumbing that we did. And I think our team came back with a strategy was like less than $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
And they were able to get so much from that. I was shocked. I could not believe that.
Thousands of eyeballs, thousands of people watching their stuff, listening to their brand, associating best in class plumbing services in Chattanooga, right? On Disney Plus, on Netflix, on radio, on all these connected TV platforms. And also something that we're kind of forgetting is that people 65 plus, they might not be on Instagram. They may not be on TikTok. They may not be on these walled gardens. So, they are doing? They're streaming TV shows. They're turning on their television, right? They're turning on the news. They're watching it on Peacock, right? They're going on HBO Max, and that is where you can capture them, right? And widen your bucket. So you can even target them. You can even say, I want to target people in this age bracket. I want to target people in this zip code. It's traditional, but it's very modern, right? In how they do it now, because most television that we watch is Wi-Fi based anyways. So it's pretty easy to target whoever you want to just with a TV ad.
I think it's fun too. Like a lot of programmatic is turning into interactive ads, something that I've noticed. We talk about interactive ads with, Chat GPT, and the ads that they're going to be, pushing out through OpenAI. Like interactive ads has been around through programmatic for probably a few years. I'd say maybe even longer. Like you guys all remember the QR code from Super Bowl 23. Like that QR code got so much business. I forget the exact number, but it was just a stupid QR code that popped up on the screen, and it was like bouncing around like ping pong, old school ping pong on the Atari. People are like, what the heck is that? And they scan it, and all the data that one site collected from people just scanning a QR code that they just threw on a Super Bowl commercial was absurd. But all that to say, like at the end of the day, it's funny because CTV has been around for so long. It's like your more traditional sense of advertising, but yet it's still able to compete against all the more modern platforms. And something that's worth mentioning is probably the end of last year, Disney Plus, they promoted, this was so cool. I thought this was so cool. Everybody's been in the vanity of AI. We've talked about it several episodes and how it affects our industry and the marketing industry. But what's interesting is how Disney Plus doubled down on the fact that there's humans behind the scenes actually placing the ads and helping these advertising agencies, build onto the platform. They're like, this is not AI, folks. This is actual people. They're doubling down, saying that the vanity of AI is not important. What's important is that there's actual people behind the scenes. And I love that. And I think that there is a sense where programmatic OTT is going to be, I think something people want to desire more because there is more interaction of humans. You know, AI is vanity, but I think people are going to start really appreciating that quality of service a little more than they may have in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So again, if you own a marketing agency and you're not upselling or cross-selling into connected TV or OTT and programmatic or any of these services that we mentioned, please reach out to Advirtis and our team would be happy to help you out, be happy to create strategies, pitches, audits, and get your clients more services, which make you more sticky, which earns them more revenue, which grows your agency in the long.
Our team does it every day, writing several deals a day, helping our partners close those deals. So yeah, by all means, reach out to us. Guys, thank you for being here. We hope this brought you some value here today. If you want to support us, like and subscribe to our channel, comment below. We'll be happy to reach out. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.